minds and make us all think. Hopefully, you guys have been doing well. I've had a good morning. Uh, had a good meditation. Need to rub the sleep out of my eyes. And been chilling out with my poochers here, my puppies, and you know, just giving them this love and snuggles that they deserve. They're such good babies. And yeah, today is going to be a good day. No matter where you are, if it's morning, well, grand risings. If it's afternoon, well, good afternoon. And if it's evening, well, good good evening. Make sure if you're watching this live that you share it with someone right now and you like and subscribe. And also make sure that you, if you're watching this later on, that you share this with someone. This is important information that we're getting out here, and it's going to help us expand our minds and, get through these trauma loops that we get into. And, this is explaining the system, the truth of our original designs, what's really going on around here, all that kind of stuff. So, hang on, just trying to get my dogs were slobbering, and so there's slobbers on my glasses now. There we go. That's a little bit better. So let's see. What have we done, guys? We've done so many things. You've removed your masks. You've quit performing. Hopefully, you've gotten to that place where you've quit this performance, and you found your authentic self, and you're living from that place of truth. But then something unexpected happens. People reject you. Not everyone, but enough people that it starts to hurt. Enough people that you start to question whether this awakening was worth it. Am I kidding? Friends you've had for years suddenly become distant. Family members accuse you of changing as if it was a crime. Colleagues look at you strangely. Some people become uncomfortable around you, and others become hostile, even threatened by your mere presence, just walking in a room. And you think, well, why are these people rejecting me? I mean, why are some becoming uncomfortable around me? I'm at more at peace than I've ever been. Or why are others becoming hostile and threatened by my presence? And you think, like, I'm finally being real. Why is everyone treating me like I've done something so wrong? Well, here's the truth. This is what you got to recognize. You got to understand this rejection is not even a sign you've done something wrong. It is a confirmation you've done something right. Hi, how's it going, Adrian? See, when you remove your masks in a world where everyone else is still wearing masks, you become a mirror. Your authenticity reflects their inauthenticity. And your light, it exposes their shadows. And your freedom highlights their imprisonment. And most people do not respond to this revelation very well. They don't respond to it with gratitude. They respond with rejection because they're not ready for it. This teaching explores the hardest part of awakening, navigating a world that often pushes authenticity aside. And today we'll answer the questions: why are people rejecting me? And tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, but Monday, we'll cover how do I protect myself and find my real tribe. See, you are living in what the agnostics called the prison system. Thanks for the hearts. And this prison, not everyone is a fellow prisoner seeking liberation. Some are guards. Some are illusions, you know? And some are traps designed to pull you back into sleep. I mean, let us develop the discernment to know the difference. right? Let's figure out, what are these NPCs, we call them. In Plato's allegory of the cave, prisoners are chained facing a wall, watching shadows cast by fire behind them. And they believe the shadows are reality, because it's all they've ever known. And one prisoner breaks free, climbs out of the cave, and sees the sun and the true source of light and reality. And he experiences genuine illumination. And he sees the world as it actually is, not just shadows on a wall. Filled with compassion, he returns to the cave to tell the others what he's discovered. But surely they'll want to know the truth. Surely they'll want to be free. But here's what most people forget about this allegory. When the freed prisoners return to tell the others, they reject him violently. They mock him. They say his journey has damaged his eyes. They call him crazy, deluded, arrogant. They insist the shadows are more real than his fantasies about a world beyond the cave. See, Plato even suggests that they would kill him if they could, because his very existence threatens the only reality they know. Yep. You've seen the light of authentic beings. You've discovered that the shadow of the social performance, materials pursuit, and ego validation, they're not real, right? And when you try to live from the truth, those still in the cave experience you as threatening, crazy, or arrogant. You're not superior to them. You've just seen something they haven't seen yet. And that seeing changes everything. I mean, think about how I felt. I came back to a world of religion, and all my friends were in religion. All my friends were Christians and everything. They were pastors, they were this, they were that. And I come back with understanding that we're in a fucking prison system, and that the religious system is part of the demerge in the prison system. And that everything I learned, it was an upside down complete kingdom than what I was taught. So imagine when I speak what that does. Do you think the church wants to listen to this? I mean, that's a lot of money they make in those buildings, right? Look at those pastors. They drive some fancy cars, they got some planes, they got nice houses, everything. They don't want to lose that. They like their imaginary world. You come and pop the bubble, oh, they'll kill you for it if they can. Author, German philosopher, I don't know how to say his last name, but his name is Arthur Schopenhauer, I think, observed all truth passed through three stages. First, it is ridicule. Second, it is violently op- op- opposed. Third, it is accepting as being self-evident. See, you're currently in stages 1 and 2. Do not expect stage 3 to arrive quick. Most people will be ridiculed or oppose your truth for years, perhaps forever. Perhaps it becomes self evident to them, if ever. You'll be called everything the opposite of even what you are. If you're telling truth, you'll be called a liar. If you're being a giving person, you'll be called a thief. If you're one who shines the light on the darkness, well, you'll be called one who spazzes out and has freak out. Spaz. The herd doesn't want individuals. It doesn't want a bright light shining. That's why they say it's light, you shining light into the darkness. Where do you think the darkness is? Right here. It wants obedience. It wants obedient members who follow the same rules. It wants the same things and never question the system. When you awaken, you cease to be a member of the herd. You become what Nietzsche's called the Übermensch, not a superior being, despite mistranslations, but a self overcoming being. Someone who creates their own values rather than adopting the herd's values without question. I'm like that. I'm standing out on my own. I don't give a shit if I'm liked or not. I'm gonna have a fucking good time. Not necessary out of malice, though. I'm not doing that at maliciously. Just, it's not real, so why let it bother me? People do it out of fear and self preservation, trying to fit back into the box. Think about it. Your very existence is a question mark, hovering over their choices. You're making them think. I mean, you can be happy without their approval. What does this say about their desperate pursuit of approval? If you can find meaning without their prescribed path of career, marriage, mortgage, retirement, what does that say about the path they're on? If you can be yourself and survive, what does that say about all the years they spent being something else or someone else? See, your authenticity is an, an existential threat to their careful, constructed illusion of necessaries. You know, and they've told themselves, I have to wear these masks. Hello, Lori. I have to play these games. I have to live this way. There's no other option. And then you show up living proof that there is another option. That you can take the masks off and not only survive, but thrive. You know, this terrifies them because if you're right, that means you've been wrong. That means you've wasted years, decades, maybe their entire lives performing for an audience that never truly mattered. So most people would rather reject you than face that possibility. Now, welcome to the demerge realm, you know. The ancient Gnostics texts speak of a reality very different from what mainstream religion taught. And they described our world as a prison, not a punishment from God, but a trap created by a false god called the Demerge. And the Demerge, the Greek craftsman or creator, is not the true source, not the ultimate divine. He's a lesser, ignorant, arrogant entity who believes he is God. He has created the material world as a prison to trap divine sparks, authentic souls like yours, in matter of distraction and ignorance. You see, the Demerge doesn't rule through direct force. That would be too obvious. Instead, he rules through archeons, which means rulers, authorities, or powers. And these archeons are the enforcers of the prison system. In the Apocryphon of John, we learned that the archeons operate through deception, making the false appear real, the prison appear like a paradise. You know, distraction, keeping souls forced on materials, pursuits, status, gains, endless consumption. Division, separating awakened beings from each other so they can't organize or support each other, attacking those who threaten the system. And when you awaken, you become a threat to the Archeon system. You are no longer controllable through the usual means: approval, shame, fear, desire, social pressure. You've seen through the game and you get it, and they can't fucking entrap you anymore. And you know the shadows on the wall aren't real, so you get it. And so the system uses the most powerful tool. Other people, the archons, don't need to attack you directly. They simply activate those around you: family, friends, co-workers, institutions, to reject, gaslight, pathologize, or marginalize your awakening. See, your mother's voice, you've changed, and not in a good way. That's archeon energy. Your old friends saying, you think you're better than us now. That's archeon programming. Your boss feeling threatened by your new boundaries. That's the system trying to pull you back in line. See, these people aren't evil. They're used. They're unconscious agents of the prison system, NPCs, the Nagamati tech state. You know, they they who are ignorant do not seek God, nor do they inquire about their dwelling place. They the ignorance of the Father brought about anguish and terror. Most people are still ignorant, not as an insult, not trying to insult you, but as a technical description. They do not know the prison is a prison. They think it's just the way things are. They've never questioned it. And when you question it, when you leave it, they experience your depart as a betrayal, an attack, a threat. And now we come to that moment. The Gnostics made a distinct distinction that modern spirituality often avoids because it sounds elitist, like I'm elite, I'm better than you, or judgmental. But avoiding it doesn't make it less true. It just makes you more confused. See, the agnostics distinguish between three types of humans: the pneumatic, spiritual ones, those with pneuma, spirit, breath, divine spark, capable of gnosis, directing knowing of truth, and can awaken their true nature, and these are rare. There's the psychics, soul ones, those with psyche, soul animated principles, capable of faith, morality, emotional connection, and can believe in truth and follow teachings. Cannot directly know truth without guidance. These are more common. Then there's the hylics, material ones, those with only hyle, matter, flesh, trapped entirely in material consciousness, operates mechanically through programming, no interest in anything beyond survival, pleasure, status, cannot be awakened because there's nothing to awaken. See, in modern terminology, we might call these ones NPCs, non players, characters, people who appear human but operate entirely through social programming, media conditioning, and survival instincts. How's it going, really? And they never question, they never seek. They simply repeat patterns. Those are NPCs. See, a tree is not superior to a rock, they're just different forms of existence. One has life force that seeks light and grows, the other is static matter. And some people have the divine spark and some don't. Or if they do, it's so deeply buried under layers of conditioning that it might as well not exist, at least not in this lifetime. You cannot awaken someone without a divine spark, by the way. You can only exhaust yourself trying. See, the gospel of Phil states light and darkness, life and death, right and left are brothers of one another. They're inseparable. Both exist, both serve as function. Your job is not to convert darkness into light. Your job is to recognize which is which and stop wasting your energy on those who cannot receive it. Your nervous system already knows. The authenticity detector, we call it. Neuroscience has discovered the remarkable mirror neurons, brain cells that fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else's performance performing that action. These neurons are why we wince when you see someone get hurt, why you smile when someone smiles at you, why you can feel someone's energy when they walk into a room. Mirror neurons. They allow us to empathize, to sense another person's inner state, to unconsciously read their authenticity or lack of thereof. So here's what's critical though. Mirror neurons can detect when someone is performing versus being. When you were wearing masks, your mirror neurons were broadcasting signals of performance, effort, social collaboration, constraint. And people unconsciously sensed this and mirrored it back. Everyone's performing together in shared dance of inauthenticity. And everyone's playing the game, everyone's pretending, everyone's exhausting, but pretending not to be exhausted. Now that you've dropped your masks, your mirror neurons signal something completely different. Congruence presence, genuine being. When people mirror neuron encounter this authenticity, they have two possibility responses. Recognition and relief, thank God, or finally someone's real, or I can stop performing too, I can breathe. These are the people who will become your tribe. They've been waiting for permission to be real, and your authenticity gives them that permission. Response two, rejection. The person's authenticity is highlighting my inauthenticity, and this is uncomfortable, and I need to remove this mirror. These are the people who will reject you, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you've stopped doing something false. You're not fitting into their box anymore. Dr. Brene Brown on vulnerability reveals that people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. And if someone has never encountered their own authenticity, an authentic self, if they've still been hiding behind performance and pretense, then your authenticity, your authentic self, will feel threatening, invasive, confusing, or too much to them. They literally cannot process what you're doing because they've never done it themselves. And when you live authentically, you create cognitive dissonance in those who don't. Cognitive dissonance is the psychological discomfort that arises when you hold contradictory beliefs or values simultaneously. Your presence whispers, you don't have to perform, you can just be yourself. And their life choices scream, I must perform to survive, I must be liked, I must fit in. These two realities cannot coexist comfortably in their mind, and the dissonance is painful. Studies by social psychologist Leon Festinger shows that when people experience cognitive dissonance, they will do almost anything to resolve it. And the easiest resolution is often reject the contradictory evidence rather than change their beliefs. You are the contradictory evidence. You're living proof that their fears are unfounded, that their masks are unnecessary, that their shadows are another way to live. And rather than admit they might have been wrong, rather than face the pain of all those wasted years performing, they reject you. You know, they call you selfish, weird, intense, changed, lost. This is recognition, dissonance, resolution. This is self protection. This is their refusal to look in the mirror you've become. Carl Jung identifies as the shadow, the parts to acknowledge these rejected aspects don't disappear, they project onto others. And when people reject you for being too much, too real, too intense, too different, they are actually rejecting the parts of themselves they've had to suppress to fit into this world. And you're reminding them of it. Your light doesn't disturb them, their own suppressed light reflects in you disturbs them. Every Accusation is a confession. You think you're so special? I wish I felt special. You're being selfish? I wish I could prioritize my own needs. You've changed? I'm terrified to change. You're too sensitive. I've numbed myself to survive. This is not your problem to fix. This is their work to do. Your job is to recognize projection for what it is and not internalize it as truth. In ecology, there's a concept called niche partitioning. Different species occupy different ecology niches, not because one species is superior to another, but because they require fundamental different conditions to thrive. A cactus doesn't judge, doesn't doesn't judge a water lily for needing a pond. A water lily doesn't try to convince a cactus to live underwater. They simply exist in their appropriate environments. So you've changed ecosystems. You've evolved from requiring the shadow toxic environment of performance, approval, seeking, and social games to needing the deep, clean water of authenticity, truth, and genuine connection. And some people cannot survive in your new ecosystem, not because they're bad, but because they've adapted to different conditions. So trying to force connection with them is like trying to plant a redwood in a desert. It will drain both of you. The redwood would die from lack of water, and the desert will be disturbed by the redwood's demands. Neither wins. Release them, not with judgment, but with ecological understanding. They belong where they belong. You belong where you belong. You see, in nature, predators seek prey. This isn't personal. It's survival strategy. The gazelle doesn't ask, why does the lion reject my friendship? The gazelle runs. After awakening, you must recognize that some people are energetic predators and they don't want relationship. They want food, your light, your energy, your attention, your time is what they're consuming. Hey, love back at you, brother. These are people who only appear when they need something. They drain you after every interaction, constantly create drama or crisis to capture your focus, reject your boundaries as selfish or mean, make you feel guilty for your growth or success. They leave you feeling exhausted, confused, or heavy. See, Dr. Judith Orloff calls these people energy vampires. That's what I call them too. The Gnostics would call them archeon influences. The metaphysical community calls them psychic vampires. Whatever name you want to use, the principle is the same. Some beings feed on your light, and no amount of love, patience, or compassion will transform them into partners. They must choose that transformation themselves, and until they do, they will continue to drain you. Your job is not to save them. Your job is to protect your energy so you can actually help those who genuinely seek help, those who want partnership and not parasite be a parasite. In nature, the gazelle that stops running because it feels sorry for the lion becomes food. Compassion without boundaries is self-destruction, by the way. It really is. One love, sis. One love to you too, bro. This is the heart of today's teaching. So after awakening, you will encounter four distinct categories of people. Understanding these categories, they're going to save you years of confusion, heartbreak, and wasted energy. So category one is sleep, NPCs, fully identified with the matrix of social conditioning, zero interest in questioning their reality, conversations remain perpetual, surface level, focus entirely on material concerns, money, status, appearance, possessions. They reach with confusion, discomfort, or hostility to deeper topics. They operate entirely through programming, social scripts, media narrative, and cultural conditioning. What they say. Why do you have to make everything so deep? Can't we just talk about normal things? You're overthinking it. That's just the way things are, man. I don't have time for this philosophical stuff. I have real problems. These are the Hylics beings without pneuma spirit. They're not bad. They're not even unconscious in a way. They could wake from. They simply operate at a different level of consciousness. They're like biological robots running programs, work, consume, produce, and die. No questioning, no seeking, no awakening. How to relate. Be polite, but boundaries. Don't expect understanding or depth. Don't exhaust yourself trying to wake them. They're not asleep. They're just not built for awakening. So minimize time and energy. Investment. Accept what surface level interaction is, the maximum possible. You know, for my book, From the Awaken, Return to Eden, in the garden, not all beings ate the tree. Some were content with the master's prescribed food. And this contentment is not evil. It is simply a different choice, a different level of consciousness. And you cannot force someone to desire freedom if they do not know they're imprisoned. These people serve functions in the system and they keep the machine running. They're the background character in the simulation. They're not your enemies, but they are absolutely not your people. So stop trying to have deep conversations with shallow people and pools. It's not worth it. Since you're awakening and free, personally threatened by it, don't worry about their threatening by it. They're threatened because you're a mirror. Remember that. And remember to actively work to pull you back to sleep. They will actively work to pull you back to sleep, these people. So that's why it's important for us to basically put ourselves in the right communities. And they're going to use words like you've changed, you think you're better than us, maybe family members, old friends, romantic partners, co-workers, authorities, figures, often the most painful to deal with because you have history with them. And what they say, you've changed. It's not a good way. You think you're so intelligent now? You're being selfish. We're worried about you. This is spiritual stuff. This is making you weird. Remember when you were normal? You're abandoning your family and friends and responsibilities. No, you're not. These are people influenced by Archeon energy. And they're throwing everything, all the tools they have at you. It's on purpose. Consciously or unconsciously serving the prison system. They are guards. Morpheus speaks of this in the Matrix. The Matrix is a system. Neo, that system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around. What do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to say. But until we do, these people are still a part of our systems. And that makes them our enemy. They're not evil, not an enemy of like what the world sees it as, just not a part of us. They're unconscious agents of the system, defending the prison because they don't know it's a prison. They're just like NPCs. Why they do this? Your freedom highlights their imprisonment. Your authenticity exposes their performance. And your peace threatens their chaos, and your growth implies they could grow too. And they're terrified of that. The system uses them to maintain control. So remember that. All right? So remember, you're, you are unique individuals, yet a part of the ultimate puzzle of the cosmos. And not every puzzle piece is a puzzle piece, a part of this puzzle. Make sure you recognize that, you know. All right? If anyone's got any questions, please feel free to ask them. Otherwise, you guys, make sure you have one heck of a day. And make sure you do one thing towards your dreams every single day. And make sure you recognize that you're valuable and you matter and you're all unique puzzle pieces, a part of the ultimate puzzle of the cosmos. And remember, don't take it personal when someone turns away. You planted a seed. Whether it grows, it's never been up to you. All right? That's exactly. We try to not react. That's exactly what you do. I just remember NPC. I mean, when you look at it from the real perspective, right, then it's like, it's nothing to even ever take personally. It's just their own journey. It's a beautiful thing about it, right? You got your journey, they got theirs. What's up, London? You want to say hi? Okay, Mr. London. Here's the cute little dog face. Mr. London says hi. All right, you guys. We'll catch you guys on Monday. Peace and love. And if you guys only got in here halfway at 10 o'clock, we're going to be live on TikTok. So welcome. Come and join us. Make sure if you haven't gotten my Awaken series that you go on Amazon or Kindle and get yourself a copy of. There's 3 books out. The most recent one is is Awaken, Return to Eden. And hi. I appreciate your support. And if you guys are looking for one-to-ones or anything, there are links up for that as well. And you can order your one-on-one and we can make a session. All right. Peace and love. We'll see you guys next time.